Ohio is the seventh most populated state in all of America, with about 12 million residents. The people are wholesome. They have a large variety of small towns, mid-sized cities, and major American cities too. Today, we will take a look at why Ohio has continued to be a popular state while much of the Midwest has been losing population over the decades. Ohio has one of the lowest median home prices for a very populated state in America. Their median home price is just over $235,000, and the median household income is about $62,000. This makes Ohio one of the most affordable states to buy a home in the whole country. Now, property taxes here are higher than you'd like to see. The average effective property tax rate is about 1.4% in Ohio, when the national average is closer to 1%. Here's the important thing to know. Ohio has a huge margin between the least and most taxed places. Some counties have a property tax as low as 0.86%, and some can go as high as 2.29%, which is more than 2.5 times higher. Ohio does have some of the most affordable income taxes in the country. Even the top rate does not eclipse 4%. Sales taxes are about 7.25%, which is not far off from average in the states. So, Ohio is affordable. How safe is it? Well, you'll like this. Ohio has a violent crime rate that is 19% below the nation's average. The property crime rate is only 2% above the national average, too. Later in this video, we'll break down the areas that are the safest in the state, too. Ohio's diversity isn't super high throughout the state. It's almost 80% white, 3.5% Hispanic, 12% black, 2% Asian, 0.1% of residents are Native American, and 2.3% of residents are two or more races. While Ohio doesn't have a lot of diversity, this state is predicated on toughness and blue-collar workers. Ohio is one of those states that people that are from there are really proud of, like New York, California, or Texas. Ohioans' pride isn't as much about race, but as their shared identity as Ohioans. Politically, Ohio has been a state that has voted for the presidential nominee every election except for two. It happens to be in 2012 and 2020. Ohio is a pretty central state politically, but it seems to be leaning Republican lately. 53% of Ohio voted for Donald Trump, and 45% of Ohio voted for Joe Biden. I will be curious to see how Ohio votes moving forward. In Ohio, they get right around the average rainfall for the country, but the winter low, about 20 degrees in January. They also get 28 inches of snow on average in the state, which is shockingly exactly the national average. Now, as cold as it gets in the winter, it can also get humid here in the summer, where the average July high is only 84 degrees. They only get about 173 days of sunshine here on average, so not quite half the days will have sunshine here. That is about 1 month less than the national average for context. Ohio can get tornadoes here too, so I'd look to see what regions are least likely to be affected by that too. People always accuse the Midwest of being boring. If you are one of those people, Ohio might be an exception to that. In Ohio, there are a few things that dominate the state in regards to entertainment. Ohio is one of those states that everything is built around sports culture, especially football. They have 2 professional teams, pro baseball teams, and an NBA team. But none of those teams are what brings the state together. It's Ohio State. The Buckeyes football team is what many Ohioans care about more than anything. One thing to note is Ohio is actually full of universities. I mean, absolutely full of them. A lot of people who are born here choose to stay here. They go to school here and stay afterwards too. Ohio has 3 major metro areas in Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus. There's plenty of city entertainment, but the majority of the state's footprint is small towns and country. There are places to get outdoors and back to nature. Ohio is actually full of theme parks too. Ohioans really care about their local and state fairs here as well. Now, if you are interested in moving to Ohio, it is important to note, while this is a great state, where you choose to live will have the biggest impact on what you think of the state. If you live in Cleveland, you are a bit isolated from the rest of the state. You're actually closer to Pittsburgh, Buffalo, New York, and Detroit than you are to Cincinnati. Cleveland has the biggest metro population in the state, and their median home price is only $115,000. You heard that right. That's in 2023. But they get double the snow of the rest of the state and do struggle with a high violent crime rate. All of the counties that are large here are left-leaning, but the rest of the state leans hard to the right. Columbus, on the other hand, is centrally located and the biggest city in Ohio. And there's a good argument it's the nicest big city in the Midwest. The median home price here is around $280,000, but the median household income is almost double what it is in Cleveland. And their crime rate is great for a major Midwestern city. You also have towns like Dayton and Toledo that are kind of a step down size-wise, but are safer than Cleveland, and just about as low for housing costs. You can actually make more money here in some cases than Cleveland too. It's just not ideal from a crime rate standpoint either. Cincinnati is the middle ground for a lot of cities in Ohio. Its median income, median home price, cost of living, and crime rates are between Columbus and Cleveland, but they also get less snow than the rest of the state, and about 1/3 of the snow that Cleveland gets. If you are considering moving to Ohio, there are lots of great small towns here too, and you should absolutely consider living outside a major city and living in the country. These towns are not known for entertainment, but for community, safety, and unity. If you are politically conservative, almost all of small town Ohio will share your political affiliations too. Now, if you are interested in learning more about Ohio or somewhere else, click on one of my videos playing on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.